Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to another episode of
Bonding over Bacon.
Thank you for joining us again. You know, today we were actually talking about something that we talk about often.
All the time.
Yeah, we're sitting here in our living room, actually in front of Johnny's homeschool cubby.
We call it the study station.
We talk about homeschooling all the time.
Yes.
Being that we are, parents who work from home for the most part, and have chosen to, take the initiative and homeschool our son. We talk about it literally day in and day out.
Yeah.
And this morning's not any different, and we wanted to invite you to our conversation today. And it's funny because it's in some of those, either if we're trying to do something new or we're experiencing a hard, difficult time with homeschooling because it's not easy at times.
We get into those pinch points of life where it just gets busy and we're like, not feeling it.
We often go back to, why the heck are we doing this?
Do we choose the hard way?
And yeah, that's something that we just started talking about, and
wanted to share a little bit of that with you today.
Yeah,
let you in on this conversation.
Why did we choose to go this route?
Yeah. It's a good reminder for us, and it might be helpful for you if you're homeschooling and going through a particularly rough season, or if you're interested to get an idea of the ebb and flow of how that works. Yeah. We wanted to share a little bit with you as to why we started and why it's important to us, and maybe a little bit of the benefit as to why.
Yeah.
Why do we keep doing this?
Yeah, that's relevant. And I think, why. It's been, how many years you said? 3-4 years?
Well, it's his fourth grade year because we did from kindergarten to now third, but we're halfway through our third year.
Got it. Okay.
Of solid, straight homeschooling. So he basically started at the beginning of kindergarten. He left kindergarten a month into school, and that was 2020 during the pandemic with all the regulations, which was one of the immediate whys.
I was going to say, I think that was the immediate short-term, kind of medicine to the situation that the whole world was trying to cope with and deal with. Was, hey, the uncertainty of school. Teachers were trying to pivot,
It was so stressful for everybody. The children felt that. He was 4 entering kindergarten because he's young, and it just didn't seem right.
Well.
It didn't seem right. He felt that he can feel energy very much, like a lot of kids can, and it was uncomfortable to try to tell young kids you have to stay apart from your friends, but yet you're with them every day. That whole distancing thing was weird, creating fear around your peers and other people. Yeah. The masking wasn't, in my opinion, healthy for all of that. Breathing carbon dioxide, just the feeling of something on your face kind of muzzling you all day. I didn't think it was a good idea psychologically for our child to be there. And we saw that, not only did we think that, we gave it a try. So we prepped him, we tried to get him comfortable with it, but within a very short time, there was just a multitude of things that weren't lining up, and we're like, you know what, this doesn't make sense. Let's stop this.
Yeah. And that was the initial, all right, let's, address this emotional uncertainty, with our son, and bring him home to a stable location. It's a safe environment, one that, we wanted to work hard in what you like to call unschooling him to a degree, to help him get back into, all right, let's shift your mindset from, some sort of fear and concern and emotion to, hey, let's refocus and regrow your mind, and let's get back into a learning mindset.
Well, similarly, even though we were in a private paying, really good school,
so we both have gone to public schools.
Right. Well, I went to a private
elementary
school, and we both went to the same public school, which is a bonding over bacon for another time.
That's true.
But we realized that even when you're in a school that's, private and, in a good area, there are bullies in kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was a second piece that happened off the bat that we weren't really, that Johnny didn't take to very well. Right. And, we have a very loving, positive household. And so that first experience bothered him, and we're like, that doesn't make sense. We don't want that to interfere with his ability to learn. Whether he was observing it or being part of that, not being part of it, but like seeing it and experiencing it, just like, shouldn't happen in kindergarten.
Agree. Yeah, we felt like it happened very early in his life, and that was another thing that further, I think, was a catalyst to our efforts to want to take him out and take over.
And I don't really know if at the time we thought about the long-term decision to homeschool. It was like, let's just see how this pandemic thing goes. We live in New York State.
Yeah, we live in New York State, and it was a temporary.
It was a lockdown. Like, we weren't allowed to leave our home, or at least that's what we were being told. We know that now other states did not have the same, strict rules. But we're like, let's just see how it goes. He's young. He's 5, 4 or 5 years old. It's kindergarten. I'm pretty sure we could do that. Yeah. And we were home anyway. You were working from home. I was just starting the business. Not even. I wasn't even starting the business. So, we were like, let's give this a shot. But the unschooling that happened in that moment, and the benefits that we started to see, and the other things that started to appear in our world, in the school system, in our state, maybe not country nationwide, but maybe within our state in New York, we were like, okay, this makes sense. How do we continue to evolve our lifestyle and continue to homeschool? And at this rate, now 3.5 years in, there is no pandemic concerns, but there are other concerns that we're like, this just makes sense to us and to Johnny and his ability to thrive. Why go back to something that may not serve him as well if he has this experience and is doing really well in it?
Yeah, so it's funny because the why, it's certainly evolved. The initial why was, hey, let's create some sense of new routine and sense of safety and comfort for our son to help him learn. Because as many people know, when you're under stress, it's almost impossible to learn and grasp what it is that you need to figure out when you're under a lot of stress. And that's what he and many children were under in that time of our history. Yet many kids still had to go through the process, and unfortunately we're seeing the reports of some school districts, especially even in our area, whose children are behind because
big time
that stress wasn't, I don't think, addressed correctly. So with regards to the why, it's like there was an initial why, that we wanted to pull him out, but then there was over time, as we were going through the experience, our why evolved, and it was actually like more encouraging to keep him out. So like there was an initial why to take him out, and then there was like a new why to keep him out.
Push and pull factor there.
Yeah,
where we're
there's
like,
that push
wow,
and pull.
this is great. Like, look at the benefits of how this all happens, and we don't want to go back.
Yeah,
we don't want to go back.
I think there were two things that really stood out to us. As far as a push factor, pushing him out, was what we saw specifically in New York State. Some of the things that they were permitting schools to do, but they were not permitting parents to do. Let me emphasize that. So when we think about the role that school plays in a family's life, it is a institution that a family should feel good about sending their children, young minds, to evolve, grow, remain curious, okay? And do so in a safe environment. But at the end of the day, the parents are the one who should have say on how things are run at a school, especially a private school. But what we were learning about some of the things that these schools were doing, whether it be, these are stories that we were told from other parents within our school district, little things like allowing children to truly believe that they are animals, furries, I guess was the term that was being shared. And they went as far as not just saying like, oh, you're a cute animal, pretend time is over, let's get back to business. No, they doubled down on that and actually put in like kitty litter in the bathrooms of some of these schools.
And allow the children to act like they were not human.
Correct. And so to a developing mind that, whose subconscious is very vast, very big, and truly are believing what it is that they're being fed, we just found that to be pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
Overall.
And I'll add to that, which is a little more disturbing, furries, and that term, to my recollection, has its impetus in the kink world. And there is a sexual connotation to that. Now, as an adult, I really don't give a crap what you want to do and what makes you feel a certain kind of way. But I don't feel comfortable with that conditioning or that even just slight association with allowing that identity to be, and that term to be utilized for young children. I don't think there's a place for that. We want to make sure that we are, cultivating their true sense of identity, their true sense of confidence. You're not going to be able to function well in the world as an adult if you think you're an animal.
Yeah. Well, again, for a developing mind, it's important to reiterate positive forms of affirmation. And what are we affirming when we foster this type of environment of, hey, if you want to be a kitty and a unicorn and a pony, yeah, do that. Dress up as one and behave.
As a matter of fact, use the bathroom as such too.
Yeah, that's just foolish. So that was something that we saw was happening. Furthermore, there were some schools in our area that were also going as far as secretively, without parents' awareness, of changing clothes if the kid wanted to change and be a different gender, or do something that the parents normally would not, or really
educate them on some of their options with certain medications or certain procedures or certain ways to change your identity, but not, with the authority of the parent or the authorization of the parent to do so, or the consent, or even sometimes the awareness.
Yeah. So the parents were absent in those, what I would consider, vital moments and vital learning opportunities for the child.
Yeah.
And I gave up too much control to the school and away from the parents.
And
we disagreed with
teaching kids that it's okay to keep secrets from your parents.
Valid. Yeah,
and
very good point.
I'm not really sure for a healthy, well-rounded family with loving, concerned parents, that should be something we allow or teach children to do. And we're just saying, I know that we're referencing specific schools in our area that we've seen this happen, which are all very valid and true. But they're over the summer, no, it was last May, I remember last summer, we were on an RV trip, and New York State itself put out education guidelines that went out to every school in the state. And it was a 40-page PDF document. And I read it from page to page, cover to cover. And it was, and we'll share the reference in the show notes on our website if you're interested. Yeah. And it shows and demonstrates to teachers and administrators how to allow students to become completely different people with completely new names, completely new genders, and how to keep it secret from the parents, how to put it in the file in a certain way, how to match the education record, how to keep it from the parents and refer to them a different way. And I'm like, this is the state, whoever these people are deciding, for the education department or whomever it is, who are putting together this document to share with every school. And it's a guideline, so it's not a law. They don't have to. But when you're sending it out from the education department, from all these organizations who put it together, and you'll see who they are in the PDF, because it references a list of who those nonprofits or those legislators or whomever it is, chairheads who are putting it together, you'll see that in the document. Who are these people? And when it comes out from the state, from that name, a lot of schools will interpret that as something we should be doing, not just a guide in case we have to, right? So there's a little bit of inferred, like, this is what we want you to do when you're experiencing this, and go ahead and follow our direction in this guide. And we're not fans. We don't consent to that. Yeah. So we don't spend a lot of time talking about these particular things. It's concerning. We have plenty of friends and family who still attend school. We can see the variation of the things that they are exposed to. We talk to our adult family members who have children, and they are in the principal's office fighting for, their student to maintain their identity, to not be ostracized because they don't believe in certain things that are happening in the school, right? Because there are students who don't like some of the politics, and apparently they're not allowed to speak up, and they're being chastised to the point where they could be suspended or expelled. So there's a lot of bias going on that takes away from the true nature of free speech. So, we don't really focus a lot on it because we've purposefully insulated ourselves from it. I don't want to spend my time and energy on it. I don't believe in it, but I'm not going to keep banging on the door and fighting school boards and trying to disrupt a system. In my mind, the best way I can disrupt the system is to make a change myself.
Yeah. Change our world, which is the decision that we ended up making and the commitment to impact our son's environment, which then, impacted the way that we have to work and operate. But that was the price we were absolutely willing to pay in order to ensure a brighter future for our son, or at least from our perspective, what we deemed as a better opportunity for him. And, there is a price to pay for everything. There's a price to pay to just let it happen and let him be exposed to it and see what that may come about, 10 years from now. And we didn't want to be complacent. We decided to take action. Yeah. And it's not every day is easy, but most of it is, pretty great, actually. Yeah. Which is the other portion of the why, and what our why has evolved to is the sense of flexibility, the sense of freedom to which we have exercised multiple times, and also seeing him grow and accomplish new milestones live in action. When there is a difficult, problem that he needs to solve, or a certain equation, or if it's getting challenging for him to write something for a long period of time, and then he pushes through it and accomplishes it, boy, is that rewarding to see firsthand. Yeah.
It's taking a front seat and becoming the strongest influence in your kid's life. I think 1,000%. Back in the day, I think it was an obvious thing that parents were the first and largest influence in a child's life. But I think in the last few decades, with the pressure of women to have to return to work with a 3-month-old, children in daycare from the very beginning, understandably, there's a need for dual income households. Yeah. There's desire to keep building your career, and the inflexibility sometimes of you being able to be present with your child. You realize that there is a lot of education happening outside the home. Most of the education and the learning and the influence is happening outside of the home. Right. And for the people who want to turn that back kind of from the inside out instead of the outside in, how much time when your kid's at school all day and in after school activities are you really engaging and bonding? Maybe in the evenings before bed, maybe first thing in the morning over breakfast when you're rushing out for the bus, maybe over the weekends. Yeah. But that's very little.
Statistically, the average amount of time that parents spend with their children is, I think, about an hour.
You mean like
about an hour a day?
An hour average. Total, or like quality time?
I'm talking about
just any time.
Like true time with a child. Wow. I think it's about an hour. An hour a day. So, that's between school, after school activities, maybe sitting down, having dinner, sitting down next to each other, watching a movie, really isn't so much a bonding. Hey, buddy. So when we think about that, we also were just like thinking about, why can't we spend more time with our son and enjoy our time with him while also, continuing to work in what it is that we need to do. So that was another why for us, was really to spend more genuine time with this, beautiful boy. So it's in these moments that we're just like, hey, the why keeps evolving. And truly, when we think about the idea of wanting to see him grow live in action.
Yeah. Being present. Like, that's the season of the life, of our life that we're in. We're in the season of being parents. Yes. We're in the season of dedicating our time to little Munchkin, who is raised at home since a baby. But this is what it's all about. Yeah. And we want to pour the best of ourselves into him and also open him up to opportunities to all the other wonderful things that we can provide for him and open his mind in ways that are so freeing for him too. It's freeing for us. Like, we've learned new things about ourselves during this. We've grown, so much during this journey. So it's like we're all growing as a family. We're all evolving. Our lifestyle is always, changing over time to meet our needs as he gets older and as our businesses grow and as we desire to travel more or, spend more time in other locations or see clients. Johnny is present for a lot of that. He has some great subconscious programming, I would say, in what it's like to just kind of go with it and grow with it, right? Yeah. He sees our setbacks, he sees our challenges, he sees our highs and our lows, but he also seeing or observing or feeling how we're handling it. We're not always talking about it. As he gets older and he asks questions, we're more vocal about like, so this is, what's up? This is, why we're, having this meeting at this time of day because, we're dedicated to our clients and we want to see something and, so we're going to take this time and we're going to flex our learning to later in the day or, like we start to help him understand the go with the flow, but that's good, right? That I feel like I'm a better person going through this and being able to be less rigid and routine and be more flexible and go with the flow and still grow with it and not be totally laxed where like life is living me or us, but we're still living it. We're still in control, but we allow that like, hey, we're not feeling up to it today. We came off a busy weekend. What we have a second Sunday. Sometimes our Mondays sometimes are second Sundays where if we've been really busy, like we spent a couple weeks ago 2 hours walking the museum with cousins and stuff. We had a great time. It was a cold, chilly day here in New York. We were exhausted and it seemed like we spent time with family that night. It was really nice. And when we got home, we're just exhausted. And the next morning we woke up a little slow. We didn't have a ton of meetings. Why do we have to, hit the ground running? We can have a little bit of an ease into the week, a second Sunday. So that means maybe our afternoon is a little busier or our Tuesday is busier when we fill up to it. But kind of allowing ourselves for that. The opportunity for that.
Well, it's the sense of flexibility that we are now able to really leverage and lean into.
Yes.
The flexibility to, double down and like work more in our business and slow down, in our time and attention with him or vice versa. It's like, hey, if the business has got like a slow patch of time, hey, let's double down on, working with him. Let's take him to the library.
What is that
feature? Thumbs up, perhaps.
Oh, it recognizes that.
But, with regards to, the flexibility that we get to now experience in our life with Johnny, truly has been a new why in our ability to grow his homeschooling experience. Which I know he appreciates. Because it's not every morning at 9 a.m. that he wants to sit down and get to work.
Yeah.
There are some days where he actually performs extremely well at like 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Where he's like laser focused on what it is that we need to do. And it's like, all right, well then let's absorb it and let's make it happen. You know? So when we think about the why behind our actions, it's really to personally see the development with him, to spend more quality time that we can never get back with him. And also the fact of the matter is that we do desire to explore other parts of our amazing country. And it was actually Johnny's idea after our first winter here in New York when we all were home the entire time thinking to ourselves, boy, I wish we could do something different during these slow days and long, cold nights. That he was like, hey, can we get an RV?
We were like, what?
And I never grew up camping, and while Chelsea has grown up camping.
And we camped a lot we camped a lot, even with him, even with Johnny, but not with our own RV.
Never, ever thought about doing that. Ever.
Mostly with a tent, right, Mom?
Yes,
we tented, and then we started like renting a cabin or renting trailers, but we never had our own.
No, and so it wasn't until he brought it up that, Chelsea and I meditated on it, talked about it, long late nights about this
one
vision.
Researched so much about how to do it.
He knew a lot about RVing.
I was just watching YouTube on TV and I saw like, what's a RV? And I just clicked it.
Even our sales guy was like, you were asking him questions and he goes, I need to hire him because he knows.
You were better at selling the RV than he was.
Things about like the fuel system and the power system and stuff, and we're like, wow, that was great.
You did a great job.
We didn't even know he was really learning that until he like brought it like to the surface with him and with the sales guy. But so we were very, very inspired after we started watching YouTube with Johnny, and we got so excited, and that has been an amazing journey for us. It's something that I didn't realize how much. Everyone's joining.
The whole family's here now.
Why not?
The powers of homeschooling impacts everyone. And the dog's been winning this entire time because everyone's home.
All the time.
So, when I think about the why, and when I think about what we've now created, around our home, and the RV that we now have, and the new memories that it can create, that has been a jolt, a catalyst to the learning experience that he gets to have and our experience as a family.
It makes it so much fun. Like, we go to so many museums, trolley tours, like walkthroughs, historical sites. We had a private, now we're going into like our RV travel, which we should even do like another episode. We'll have a separate
one because we love talking about it.
Oh, we love talking about it. We have a million things to talk about with that. But we had a live demonstration of a war soldier with his musket, and he was just out on his lunch break in his full regalia, and he saw us walking around the historic grounds reading the plaques, and he goes and he stops us and would you like me to show you how to do that? And we're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like, we just open ourselves to new opportunities to learn, to see different parts of the country and do so at our pace.
And it was all because of me.
Yeah.
This whole thing is because of you, brother.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
This whole thing.
It's all a labor of love because of you.
So, I think that's a good wrap because there's so many other things that we can talk about. But as far as our why, this is our why for everything that we do. And to homeschool him, be around him, and see him grow and develop into an incredible leader, an incredible man, has been so gratifying that we will continue to
little
do
man.
This.
Still a boy.
Young man, I said.
Young man. Oh, I didn't hear you say that. Yes.
But there is so many other things that, so many other reasons why we do what we do. But that's really the core of our why here for homeschooling.
And so we're talking to you about this too, to hopefully inspire you or set your mind at ease that you're not alone, or if you're thinking or considering making the lifestyle change, we're here to talk to you. I'm a certified life coach. We've done this together. We're happy to support you in that. I also have a parents homeschool guide. It's a free download on our website at RISEmpowerment.com. We're actually going to put together, a guided course that actually doubles down on the guide and also gives hacks, tips, tricks, all the things that we have helped to implement to support us in our homeschooling journey to maybe help you, stress less and live more. So we have that in the works, but the guide is already there if you want to go check that out. The references we talked about in this conversation will be also in the show notes on our website, so go check that out under this blog post. And be sure to subscribe to the newsletter for our next Bonding Over Bacon episode. And let us know in the comments what you want us to talk about next, or if you have any questions or additional things you want us to address, because we'll be rolling out a ton of these types of videos. We have a wealth of information to talk to you about. But thanks for tuning in and checking out the whole tribe here, which I'm sure they'll make appearances quite often in our videos. But have a great morning.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.